Now we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty of what Indians are all about.
I still say we Indian people are believers in the truth. This is the way of life that was given to your people. You're born an Indian, you're going to die an Indian. Indianness is a good life. You're facing an Indian this afternoon.
Good Saturday afternoon out there, everyone, and welcome to your number one source for Native American television news, Native News Today. I'm your host, Jason Salzman, joined today in the Mvskoke Media newsroom set, as you can see, with the media coordinator here, Miss Jessica McBride. She is joining me today to talk about some of the things that we are, I bring her in every now and again to talk about some of the things we're covering at Mvskoke Media. And Jessica, it's so great to have you on the show again.
Thank you.
Well, we are, getting into some of the things that we're covering, and we're going to have a regular show for you, so I don't want anybody to see the Mvskoke Media newsroom set and freak out and think we're just going to talk your ear off the whole time. We're going to have some packages for you here later on in the program. But Jessica, we do have some big news items that we have been covering. One is the housing issue with the citizen, Mr. Barney Ingram, that we've been following closely. And here recently, for those that have been following us on the show and haven't seen the most recent developments, we did receive word from the Principal Chief's office.
Right. We actually got a statement from the Secretary of Housing, Sam Whitlow. His statement included two parts. One was that their programs are run with federal money, and so they have to obey federal guidelines. And then the other statement said that they had sent a letter to Mr. Ingram for assistance. It was an application for assistance so that they could help address the issue.
Yeah, and when we talked with Sam Whitlow, when we first interviewed him on this program as part of our series with the cabinet members when he was appointed. I kind of got the feeling from Sam in those comments that he made that day. He's a real stickler for the rules, wanting to look at what we can and cannot do absolutely from the federal guidelines. So that statement from Sam is not very surprising to me. It does come at a time where it was a situation where Mr. Ingram had ran out of propane, according to him. And so the statement comes at a pretty good time for Mr. Ingram as far as getting some kind of resolution on this.
Right, and for additional information, if you've missed out on the coverage, you can always go back and review our coverage on Mr. Ingram's issue at mvskokemedia.com. Also, we've reached out to Mr. Ingram, and he declined to comment because at the time he hadn't received the application.
Right, and we will, as we have, we'll continue to follow this story if anything develops further, and keep everyone up to date, up to speed on all the things that are happening. But right now also lots of other things happening on mvskokemedia.com. We hope that you're joining us each week as you do on this program on the website. We are having things daily that come out, a lot of great articles that have been in the paper, a lot of great material that we're gathering that's up there right now, including what you'll see later on in the program, which is a one-on-one sit-down with the new Secretary of Health here at Mvskoke Creek Nation, Mr. Shawn Terry. And Mr. Terry is walking into a situation that may not be ideal for most people, because we have absolutely had reported deficiencies and problems with the health division. But he seems from his comments to really be wanting to hit everything head on and have great enthusiasm.
Right, we've heard from citizens that they want to keep up with what's going on in health. Health issues are very important to the citizens, and so we reached out to Mr. Shawn Terry and got his perspective on what he sees for the department.
Yeah, and I filled in this morning for Gary Fife on the Mvskoke radio program, and Mr. Terry was with us there again, and he's willing to sit and answer the tough questions. We asked him about the problems that he faces and some of the things that he has to come in and try and remedy, and so he hit everything with flying colors as far as setting and answering the questions. Of course, he's new, so he's trying to, right now, getting in that sort of come in, see what he's dealing with mode. So we have that for you. Also, we have some other things that we have planned on this program. A few weeks ago in Pawnee, several tribes met together to sort of discuss where to go forward with the new president of the United States of America and the new administration of Donald Trump, working with Donald Trump, the tribes, and to see really where they're at. And lots of tribes from all over were gathered there in Pawnee, and actually the chairman of the National Indian Gaming Association, Ernie Stevens Jr., was there. Kurt Kickingbird, who is a known Native lawyer that actually worked in Native affairs in the Nixon administration. So this gentleman has lots of experience working in Washington for Native Americans. We'll talk to him and Ernie Stevens Jr. about how that meeting went. So that's coming up as well. So we're really excited about that. We got lots of things too extra, and we've got a lot of things out there on YouTube right now. If you go check out all the videos that we have weekly, we're putting up new videos, we're putting up old videos, so it's a chance for you to see all of that. But we're going to take our very first break right now. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with Native News Today. And welcome back to Native News Today. In the Mvskoke Media newsroom set today, I'm joined with Jessica McBride as we get started with our very first story this week. And Jessica, it is a monumental story because for the first time ever, a petition is being filed with the Mvskoke Creek Nation under Article 6, Section 8 of the Constitution, putting the power into the people's hands to change or amend the Constitution. In this case, amending the blood quantum requirement to hold office. Right now, you have to be a quarter or more to hold public office in Mvskoke Creek Nation. We have a citizen, Mr. Eli Grayson, that has put forth a petition. He is now shopping it out to people, and we wanted to give him an opportunity to explain this petition, why he brought it forth, the information on it, where people could sign if they so wanted to, and that was the impetus of our story here to be able to bring it to you today. So, Article 6, Section 8, petition to amend the Constitution.
What we're doing, we are removing the blood quantum prohibition, which is basically worded in our Constitution that you have to be a full citizen to hold elective office. And what a full citizen is, our Constitution set up two classifications of citizen, one full and one citizen. And a full citizen are those over a quarter blood. A regular citizen is those a quarter blood and less, or less than a quarter blood. And so what we're doing, we're changing the language using Article 6, Section 8, removing the language or amending the language of full citizen and just making everybody full citizens of the Creek Nation. It just makes no sense in 2017 that we allow these Jim Crow standards in our tribe, and we're hurting ourselves to benefit certain people. That's all this is. It's just certain people get a lot and certain people don't. There are 83,000 creeks. My citizenship is no less diminished than your citizenship. We're equal, and it's about time that citizens step up to the plate and know that. One of the reasons we have few people that vote in our elections is because so many people can't run for office. So their families have no dog in the fight, and they never see anything change. They see a different t-shirt, they see a different signature, but the same problems persist, election after election after election. You want the voters to increase in numbers, then allow their family members to run. I mean, it's that simple. You want people to participate in our tribal government and events at the tribe, then allow them full citizenship, to be treated no different than someone else. Again, everyone got 106 acres in 1906, and they had it right then. We're gonna make it right again. And hopefully, when people decide to run for office, they're going to run because they know what they're doing. You know, it's not because it's the last person we can elect. So we're using Article 6, Section 8, which is the first power of the people, to write a piece of legislation. We need 8% of those who cast a vote in the last election to sign a petition, which is roughly about 400 votes, 400 signatures, and then it's verified by the election board, signed by the Secretary of the Nation, and then it's called to an election. And what I would like to see, as well as so many other people, that this election coming up in November, that the people that we're going to be voting on in seat B, we're going to be voting on because there's some standards there, not because we have no choice. And it's racism, and it's nationalism, and it's incredibly hurting us. I mean, it's hurting us. It's not helping us, you know? So that's what this is about. And if anybody want to contact me, my number is 918-730-1133, eligrayson@hotmail.com, or you can get me on Facebook. There's only 3 or 4 Eli Graysons in the country. And there are 2 people on Facebook with the same name. So it's easy to find me if you want this petition. I've already mailed out and given out hundreds of these petitions for people, families to receive. And people are excited. This is one I got back in the mail today, one of many I got back in the mail today. So people are looking forward to remedying this problem that's persisted. It never should have been in our Constitution. You know, let me tell you something. You shouldn't see it as a threat to you if you are on the council, or if you're not on the council and you're more than a quart of blood and you want to run for office. This isn't a threat to you, because if you're qualified to do the job, hey, people are going to vote for you. But if you're not qualified to do the job, you're not going to get elected. You know, so it's no more of the last person on the block gets the job. It's no more of that.
All right, thank you to Mr. Grayson there, Eli Grayson, a Mvskoke Creek citizen, bringing forth that petition, and that will be online as well if you'd like to watch that to get that contact information again. Jessica, we have a new president. Fairly new.
We do. We also have, the Senate just approved today the new Secretary of Interior Affairs.
Oh, really?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, yeah, and those confirmations have been interesting. They've been must-see TV, really. So another one confirmed. But in the spirit of the new presidency, the new administration, of course, tribal governments around the country, no matter who's president, look at how are we going to work with the new administration. What are some of the ways that we can make sure that Indian issues are giving a seat at the table and in Washington. And in that spirit, a lot of tribes gathered in Pawnee recently to talk about these things. We were there for the meeting, and so glad to be able to provide that to you now here exclusively on Native News Today.
Well, we count it a special blessing that the Unicot organization is able to come up to the Pawnee Reservation. All of the issues discussed today are pertinent and now for Indian country. And so we are very pleased that we had such a great turnout for this event today. One of the major themes this morning already discussed is being proactive. And so that's what we are trying to all do, is be proactive in dealing with this new administration. A lot of things, even in this last week, have come down from him and the administration. And so we as Indian people, we as tribal nations, we need to be prepared, we need to be knowledgeable about the issues, and we need to push forward the Indian agenda in all of these things, reminding the federal government of their trust responsibilities, the treaties that have been signed, and we're still here, we're not going anywhere.
We need tribal leadership to come to Washington and not be afraid of a new administration. It's a new challenge, but it's not a bad challenge. We just have to step up to the plate and do our job. And our job is to educate America about who we are and where we come from. We are America's first people, and America needs to understand us, understand who we are, and what that means. So, in terms of the future ahead of us, I think it's bright. But it's bright if these leaders come to Washington and explain to them the great things that are changing here in Pawnee and throughout Oklahoma. And they're not just changing for Indian country; they're changing for all of this country.
In every administration, you have the same process of having to educate Indians about and non-Indians. And educating Indians is important because they don't understand often about the legal framework, about treaties, about sovereignty. They'll talk about it, but they don't know quite what it means or how to use it. And that's the most important thing, is teaching them how to use sovereignty and how to make it interact with every aspect of their life: education, health, the jurisdiction, police powers, child care, child welfare, elder care. All those things need educational frameworks to make sure they're implemented properly.
The bottom line for us is we don't want to live in the past, we want to build the future, and that's what I told the leaders today, that it's imperative that we help understand this administration, not overreact to a change in administration, but do what we've done under every administration. Get in there, educate, tell them who we are, where we come from, and we're prepared to get on this team and help move America forward. But most importantly, I think moving Indian country forward moves America forward. We've proven that in terms of jobs and economy. Every place that we get stronger, America gets stronger.
And thank you to the Pawnee Nation for hosting us there that day and for the big gathering. Great to see all those people, especially getting a chance to get Kirk Kickingbird on the show. I think that's the first time. A lot of knowledge, and he's seen a lot of things, and as I said, been involved in Indian affairs for several years. So a great story there. Jessica, a great story that we have covered throughout these past couple years. Not really a great story, but it's been a story of some stature, and that's the health deficiencies that have been going on at Mvskoke Creek Nation, specifically with finances. And with that being said, new Secretary of Health coming in, Shawn Terry. He is a Mvskoke Creek citizen. I think, did you have a chance to visit with him, or?
I actually haven't had a chance to visit
right.
with him,
Yeah.
but I've covered health a lot here in the past year, and so I'm well acquainted with the issues over there.
Definitely, and I think that he speaks to some of these issues. We were able to sit with him for an exclusive interview, and this is that interview, Mr. Shawn Terry, the new Secretary of Health at Mvskoke Creek Nation.
I've grown up in Oklahoma my whole life. Grew up in Coweta. I went to high school there, and then went to Tahlequah, to Northeastern State, to get my degree in Health and Human Performance. After leaving NSU, I went to work for the Cherokee Nation as a health education specialist, and spent 16 years with the Cherokees and worked really in all aspects through the operations of health there. And in 2008, I left the tribe and went to work at Hillcrest in business development as an assistant vice president there, and eventually they offered me a vice president's role, and so I stayed there for up until a month ago. So I've been in this role now for about 30 days. It's been an extremely rewarding last 30 days. The employees and my co-workers have been extremely gracious and welcoming. And so really everything that I've been doing my whole life in my career has been, I think, guiding me into this role. So it's been a really, really good 30 days. I think that my first goal is that I believe that our citizens deserve great access to care. I believe that they deserve great quality of care. And I believe that we should all treat our patients and each other with respect and compassion. So really those three items is what I want us to make every decision that we make, based on how we treat each other, great access to care, and great quality of care. So that will be what I want to bring to the organization as kind of how we guide our system. That's a really big question, because the health deficit has lots and lots of layers. So keeping in mind that that our clinics are funded by the Indian Health Service. The Okmulgee Hospital is not funded by the Indian Health Service. The rehabilitation hospital is not funded by the Indian Health Service. And so when you talk about a deficit, you have to really break down every facility and every program into what causes that deficit. And so one of the things that we're doing is trying to analyze, where do we lose money and where do we make money? And you have to go and approach each one of those areas individually and not paint just a broad picture of the system as a whole. So right now, we're focusing a lot of our time on the hospital, because as one of the newest facilities that the tribe owns, hospitals, you have to manage very, very tightly. And so that's really where we're at with understanding the economics of what's happening in the hospital right now. So what we have to do is get really smart at doing what hospitals need to do as a business, which is controlling their expense, maximizing their revenue, designing the services that they can provide locally, and making sure that their money is spent wisely. It is open 5 times a week. We have a provider there 5 days now. We are getting close to having pharmacy there every day. We're doing some analysis with our lab situation to where we're going to have some lab capability every day down there. But once again, since we don't get federal funds for Wetumpka, I need to make sure that that appropriation gets me through to the end of the year. And as I was describing with the hospital, what I don't want to do is go in and spend all of the money that was appropriated to me in 2 months, and I'd be in a situation where I'm in a deficit at Wetumpka. So we're trying to be very smart and very diligent with the money and do it in a way that we can sustain it as we're building it. I think it's going extremely well. We had, I think, some small hitches on Okemah at the beginning of it, and I think that it's coming together nicely. We had a few glitches with the road in Okemah going up to the hospital. I think all of those issues are now almost finalized, and we're going to have that situation resolved very quickly. So the Okemah Hospital is going to be beautiful, and we hopefully will have it open by the end of the year. I mean, I really appreciate you guys taking time to come over and talk to us. I think we're going to do some great things in health over the next year. The National Council and the Chief's leadership and vision of having great health care for our citizens, I couldn't ask for more supportive legislators and administrators than what I get to work with. So I appreciate their leadership and support. They have been overly supportive in our efforts here, and healthcare is important to all of them, and we're going to make this health system hopefully a model of excellence for our citizens.
Well, that'll wrap up another episode of Native News Today. I want to thank all the people that made our stories this week, which would be Shawn Terry, the new Secretary of Health at Mvskoke Creek Nation, all the good folks up in Pawnee hosting that important meeting of tribes from all over, also talking with Eli Grayson on the petition. Look out for that in our coverage on MvskokeMedia.com, all of our outlets, including the Mvskoke Nation News. Jessica, as we get ready to close the show, another a big story that we've worked on that we've been following closely is with former state representative Dan Kirby, who's a Mvskoke Creek citizen, served in the Native American Caucus, served as the athletic commissioner here at Mvskoke Creek Nation. We actually have some developments in the story that we've followed on him with his the allegations brought against him of sexual harassment at the House of Representatives.
Right. The executive branch as well as the National Council asked Mr. Kirby to resign, and we did receive verification that as of March 1st, Mr. Kirby is no longer the athletic commissioner.
Yes, no longer the athletic commissioner, and I believe he's resigned also from the House of Representatives.
Yes.
So, this is something that we followed from the get-go, because when we first heard and we first had the story breaking in other news outlets, tribal citizens recognized the fact that Mr. Kirby was the athletic commissioner, so the Mvskoke Nation News, of course, involved and needing to ask those questions to the chief, and that if we follow it, the people are following it, we are going to need to follow it. So we started putting the story out, and that's where we're at with the latest developments, and reaching out to Mr. Kirby. Hopefully we'll be able to get something with him from his side of the story. Want to make sure to get every single side of this, so that's an important part of it for us to complete that coverage. Jessica, thank you so much for being with me today in the studio.
It was a pleasure.
You bet. And please keep with all the things going on Mvskoke Nation News, our newspaper, our website, MvskokeMedia.com, all of our outlets on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're even on Snapchat for you kids out there. So everybody have a great week, and we will see you next time. It's been Native News Today here from Mvskoke Media.